This is the hardest art form in history, known as neihua, which means inner painting in Chinese, since an artist uses a tiny L-shaped brush to reach the inner wall of a small bottle. But what makes it so difficult is that the entire painting is done backwards, meaning one wrong move and the piece is completely ruined. And even though the bottle was carried all the time, the artwork inside could never be damaged and would last forever, turning an ordinary snuff container into a luxury status symbol. This girl used a table to make something you'd never expect, because instead of using it like normal furniture, she crocheted thick wool around all four legs, while packing each part with cotton to build up the shape. And as the yarn climbed past the tabletop, it looked like she was just burying the whole thing. But she still wasn't done, since after stitching all the sections together and adding a few final details, by day 14, the table had completely transformed into an adorable elephant. This artist turned something ordinary into something almost impossible, because instead of carving stone or wood, this artist carves directly into the fragile lead of a pencil. But what makes it crazier is that some of his sculptures are only 2 millimeters wide, making the material incredibly brittle, so one wrong cut can snap the entire piece instantly. And he does this using a magnified camera view, a tiny craft knife blade, and insane precision, as he slowly shaves away microscopic pieces for hours at a time, until he's turned the end of a pencil into a tiny work of art almost too small to see ever. This is why you should never throw away your kid's first drawing, because instead of leaving it forgotten on a piece of paper, all you need to do is cut out their artwork, layer it in plastic, place it onto a plain shirt, and put parchment paper over top before ironing it down. And once the heat seals it into the fabric, that simple drawing becomes a memory you can actually wear forever. Even exist, and you won't believe why. Because what you're looking at isn't a normal bridge at all. It's a road that literally floats on top of a river, and as cars drive across it, you can actually see the whole thing sway beneath their tires, which makes it look insanely dangerous. But the reason they built it is even crazier. The cliffs in this valley are so steep that building a normal bridge would have meant blasting entire mountainsides, costing millions and cutting this region in China off for years. So engineers tried something no one expected, a floating road made from hundreds of pontoons that rises and falls with the water, because locals had no other safe way to cross, meaning the Shiziguan floating bridge ended up becoming the one thing that finally connected an isolated community to the outside world. People walking underwater. Well, if you thought this was a normal pool, then you'd be completely wrong, because this isn't water they're standing in. It's a full-size room hiding under a sheet of glass with only 4 inches of water above it, designed by Leandro Ehrlich. This illusion debuted in Japan before he brought the concept to his home country of Argentina, tricking thousands and making every desperate swipe was just the robot trying to keep itself alive just one more day. And as the years passed and the fuel got darker, the movements got slower, as if it knew stopping meant dying, even though the artist never programmed it to feel anything. Until one day, everything changed. Nothing moved, meaning the robot that never stopped trying finally couldn't help itself. This robot has been fighting for its life for years, and the saddest part is it never knew why. Because when it was built in 2016 for a museum in New York, it was given a single job: to keep its own blood from escaping the circle on the floor. But as people gathered around the glass, they didn't realize that the liquid it was trying to hold in was the same liquid its body needed to survive, which meant every desperate swipe was just the robot trying to keep itself alive just one more day. And as the years passed and the fuel got darker, the movements got slower, as if it knew stopping meant dying, even though the artist never programmed it to feel anything. Until one day, everything changed. Nothing moved, meaning the robot that never stopped trying finally couldn't help itself. This robot bed will save your life in an earthquake, because the moment it detects violent shaking, the entire frame activates, dropping you safely into a reinforced metal chamber hidden underneath. And once inside, the lid closes to form a protective shelter strong enough to withstand falling debris and collapsing walls. However, it's not completely sealed shut. It has built-in air vents so you can breathe. And the craziest part, the inside is stocked with water, snacks, survival tools, and even pedal-powered electricity, so you can stay alive for hours or even days. After feeling completely overwhelmed by the chaos of the world, he discovered a color that scientists say can actually calm your brain, a simple shade known as cloud white. But instead of just painting a wall, he did something nobody expected, spending days sketching, measuring, and building, tightening over 10,000 screws to create a room that felt like his own peaceful sanctuary. But that wasn't enough, so he attached the entire room to a hot air balloon, eventually reaching heights of over 3,000 meters, while going on with his everyday duties like nothing else mattered, since being in the clouds felt like his only way to drown out the noise, until he learned freedom didn't come from floating, but from the moment you finally jump. When this boy was casually playing with the Spirit of Ecstasy on a Rolls Royce, he didn't realize the insane value of the car. But when the owner told him that it was worth $300,000, the kid's reaction was hilarious. This guy of faking his dive with AI, he proved everyone wrong. Because when a video showed him backflipping into a pool through a tiny opening, people went crazy trying to figure out how it was even possible. But just a few weeks later, they released the original footage and revealed the truth. He's actually a professional CGI artist. This man has been sleeping for over 40 years because he's still waiting for his flight at the international airport in Orlando, but he hasn't moved a single inch since 1985, since the man you're looking at isn't actually a real person. It's a hyper-realistic statue named the Traveler, and it looks so lifelike that people still bang on the glass to this day, convinced he might just wake up. Where bricks are left next to crosswalks to make sure cars stop for you, since humans respond more to a perceived physical threat compared to signs or paint, instantly making drivers slow down and improving pedestrian safety. But the funny part is that these bricks are actually just foam. This is Vic, and he's living proof that men actually know how to decorate, because he engineers some of the most interesting home upgrades you'll ever see, like installing a full kitchen fan right above his toilet to suck up bad smells and to give himself perfect lighting for reading, or taking his family's 100-year-old cabinet and giving it a modern touch. But that's not why people say Vic would be the perfect landlord. It's because his repairs are high quality and built to last. And since he's always overheating from all his hard work, he lowered all the fans throughout his house so the airflow hits exactly where he needs it, even making sure his drinks stay extra crisp in the fridge, making it look like it's controlling them. But to pull this off, every part of the wall has to be measured and mapped perfectly. And once everything is lined up, the wall basically turns into a screen. But if anything is slightly off, the illusion breaks instantly, since this technique is known as projection mapping, where a projector is programmed to display custom visuals onto any object, turning anything into a canvas with no limits. This guy can turn any boring wall into an animated art piece, because after mapping his room in 3D, it then became his own personal canvas, creating a scene where the animation syncs perfectly with the real lights, even making it look like it's controlling them. But to pull this off, every part of the wall has to be measured and mapped perfectly, and once everything is lined up, the wall basically turns into a screen. But if anything is slightly off, the illusion breaks instantly, since this technique is known as projection mapping, where a projector is programmed to display custom visuals onto any object, turning anything into a canvas with no limits. Most unique style of art you'll ever see, because this artist hand draws every line in an ultra-wide angle perspective, creating a scene on a slightly concave canvas, which exaggerates depth the same way your eyes see the world. So when the camera slowly zooms in, the distorted lines begin correcting themselves, and suddenly, just a normal drawing turns into a 3D immersive experience, like you're playing the game in a VR headset.